guys, I am really excited today to tell you about the artist that we're going to travel to France and learn about today. His name is Henri Matisse, and Matisse was very famous for his collages. Now, earlier in his career, when he started out, he didn't do collages. He was a painter, but he ended up having stomach cancer, and he was really sick, and he ended up being confined to a wheelchair. And so he wasn't able to paint like he had before, so he started doing collages. Now, as most of you probably know, a collage is when you take paper and you cut it into shapes, and then you turn it into another picture. So you can do collages with all different sorts of things. You can take paper and paint it, and then you can turn it into collage, or you can use pattern paper, or you can use magazine pictures. You can cut out of a magazine to make collages. You can even use scrapbook paper or construction paper. So what we're going to be using today is actually scrapbooking paper, but it's colorful paper. And so instead of us painting our paper first, I decided that it would be easier for this lesson for us just to use this paper that's in your box. Okay, so in the very back of your paper, you'll notice one of them says watercolor. That is for a different lesson. Go ahead and put that up. This is your paper that was all clipped together, and that's your colorful paper. Okay, it's called cardstock, and there's all different sizes and colors in here. Now, you have a couple of pieces in the back of the white paper. Okay, there should be a couple of those pieces. There's a big sheet of the black cardstock. Okay, so, I just dropped paper all over the floor. So there is lots of paper in here for you all to use in order to make your collage. So if you want to use a black background, there's a big piece of black in there, or if you want to use a white background, you decide which one you want to do first, okay? There's plenty of paper in here for you to do a couple of collages, okay? Now, there's all these other pieces that you can use too. Remember, we don't ever cut out of the very center of a piece of paper. We're going to cut from the edges, and that way you've got enough left over to use other stuff. Now, let me show you this real quick. Let me pick up this paper. I dropped a couple of pieces on the floor. Hang on just a second. Okay, so anyway, this is what we're going to do. We've got red and blue and orange and all these different colors. When we are going to do our picture today, we're going to do what's called painting with scissors. That's what Matisse called his collages, was painting with scissors. So there's a couple of ways that we could do this. If we wanted to, of course, I think I'm going to use black as my base, just for something different. Now, you can see in this picture, this is a copy of one of his actual collages that he did. And to me, it looks kind of like the ocean. So that's kind of like seaweed and stuff in the ocean, maybe some of the plants that live in the ocean. So lots of his pictures kind of look like the ocean. Some of them look like a circus. I have a video that I made of a book that he has called Jazz. And so it'll be on your link, and you can see some of the different collages he made. Now, when you make your collage, you can make any kind of shapes that you want. You can use the colors that you want, but we're going to be using the glue. So in your box, there was a little container of glue, and there was a paintbrush in the bag, and that was just a little cheapy paintbrush. Most of them were, they were just the real inexpensive plasticky kind. That's what we're going to use to paint our glue on, so we can glue our collages together. Now, like I said, this one has all different kinds of colors in it and stuff, so you can mix up the colors. But let's talk for just a minute about shape. Now, with shape, turn you up just a little bit. With shapes, you can have what's called a positive shape, or you could have a negative shape. So a positive shape is the shape that's made. I'm going to just go ahead and cut one out for you. So let's say that I start, and I'm just going to start cutting a shape, okay? I'm going to come around, and I'm going to make one of those seaweed kind of looking shapes. So I'm going to just go back and forth with my scissors, and I'm using the same scissors that you guys are going to use. Thought that would be the easiest way to do it. And so I'm going to go back and forth, and I'm going to cut my shape. And you can cut your shape however you wish. Now, I have two shapes. See, this is the shape that came out of this piece of paper. So this is called a positive shape, and this is called a negative shape. Can you figure out why? Because see, the negative is what's left behind after the shape's been cut out. Now, we're not going to throw this part away. We're going to use this negative shape. And then here's our positive shape. So we're going to set that over to the side. And then I'm going to cut part of this off because I want to use another piece of that green maybe later. Okay, and then I'm going to cut off a little bit of this. So there's my negative shape. Now, I'm going to put this over to the side. Then I've got these two pieces that still look pretty good because I cut them off of there. And I'm going to continue just to cut different shapes. Now, if you want to, you can draw off a shape first, and then you can go around it and cut it out. But when you go to glue it down, don't glue down the side that has the pencil mark showing. Glue the other side, put the glue on the side with the pencil marks, and then stick it on the paper. And that way you won't be able to see the pencil marks. But I do want to show you something in case you're kind of having a hard time with figuring out how to do a shape, okay? I'm gonna point you down just for a second. Okay, so let's say that you're kind of having a hard time trying to figure out what kind of a shape you might want to make. You could actually make a shape. Let's say that we're going to make a plant kind of shape, and we don't really know how to do it, so we're just going to make like a V. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go around that shape and make just like if we were making bubble letters and we went around it like that. Okay, then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut around the outside of that shape just to show you what I'm talking about. If you're having a hard time just cutting without having something to look at, then you can draw your shapes first. But I want you to get to the point where you can just start cutting out some shapes without really even thinking about it, because that's the whole idea, is to just kind of let your mind wander while you're cutting and think, oh, I'm going to try to make this look like a fish, or I'm going to try to make this look like a flower, without actually drawing it first. But just until you get started, you can draw some off if you need to. Now, here's what I was talking about. See how this has the pencil mark? This is the side I would apply the glue. Then I would flip it upside down and glue it down like this so you can't see the pencil. Make sense? Now, see, I still have my negative shape here, and if I wanted to, I could use that negative shape over on another part of the picture. So I'll leave that there just to figure out what I want to do. Okay, and then I'm going to continue to cut some more shapes. So I think I'm going to take this one and I'm going to cut it into kind of like a circle, and I'm going to make sort of a spiral. So I'm going to start cutting off my corners, and it doesn't have to be perfect, guys. You can actually use strange shapes if you want to. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to start cutting around, and I'm going to make a swirly shape like this, and then I'm going to go back and cut out some of it, so when I lay it down there's an empty space in it, and I can definitely use that negative space for sure. And it's kind of hard to see. So I've got this shape, and I've also got this little swirly shape that I could use. See how that works? Now, if I wanted to make this part a little bit skinnier, I could do that too. I can just kind of take this and go around it and make that part smaller if I want to. And then I would glue all that down. See how that works? So what you're going to do is you're going to get your different colors, and you're gonna figure out what you want your picture to look like. So you'll sit there and maybe you'll think about the different shapes that you wanna make. These are called organic shapes. Organic shapes are shapes that don't really have a name. Those are shapes that are just found in nature, like a leaf or a puddle. You know, you might just make a little squiggly, puddly shape. That's an organic shape. Anything that you can't name, like a circle or a square or a trapezoid, if you have to call it like a googly blob or something like that, then you'll know that this is an organic shape because it doesn't really have a name. You can't really name it. And then if you wanted to make another one that's kind of goes down like this and up, and maybe you want it to kind of point down and then make another little point. And see how I'm just kind of cutting and just making a crazy shape. And then I'm gonna swoosh back there. Now you can figure out, maybe that kind of looks like a bird to you or something like that, I don't know. And then you can even make some little tiny shapes if you wanted to. You can make like a zigzaggy kind of shape if you wanted to. But just use your imagination and see what you can come up with. So maybe you're making a crazy shape like this. You can just kind of put a shape down like that if you want to. But you're going to cut out a whole bunch of different kinds of shapes and then just sort of look at them and figure out what you want to keep and what you want to get rid of. So I've got all of these things. Now, I might want to take this piece and make another design. Now, when you're using your scissors, you have to make sure that you turn the paper and don't turn your hand around like this when you're cutting. You want to make sure you hold your scissor hand still and you move the paper around. So you're just kind of guiding the paper with your hand. You're not going to move all that around. I kind of like the way that did. That looks kind of neat. So I think I'll leave it like that. So that's kind of attached. So I've got several different little things there. Now the next thing I can do, I think I'm going to make one more little shape. Like a drop, like a big drop of rain. So that can be my other shape that I have on there. So I'm gonna sit here for a minute and I'm gonna mess around. I don't really like this shape. I don't like the way it's all sharp. I like these smooth edges a little bit better. I think on this one, I'm gonna cut this point off. I'm just kind of liking these shapes that are kind of smooth on the edges, that don't have the rough edges. But I do kind of like that one. So I'm gonna sit here for just a minute and play around and see what I like and what I don't like. So move it. It's kind of like a puzzle, trying to figure out how to put a puzzle together. So if I wanted to, I don't really like that piece. Kind of like this. But I kind of like that as well. And you can overlap the piece, which remember that means when you overlap that one piece goes in front of another piece. So if I wanted to have one that comes across this way or behind it, I can do that. Maybe I want to take this piece and put it in this empty space. So I'll sit there and I'll look at that until I get it the way that I want, and then I'll glue it down. So maybe I think, well, I'm gonna turn it around this way and see if I like this better. Maybe I'll move this. Maybe I'll cut these two pieces apart. Put those together. And you might want to try several different things before you pick something. You don't have to get in a hurry. You can kind of play around with it for a while until you figure out how you want it. It doesn't have to be exactly on the page like the other one is. You can make one go this way. You can make it catty-cornered if you wanted to. But I just want you to sit there and kind of play around with it a while until you get it the way that you like it, okay? So I'm going to give you guys a little while to work, and I'm going to continue to work, and we'll come back in a little bit and I'll show you what I've come up with, okay? So don't get in a hurry. Take your time and figure out the best way for you to put your pieces together, and come back and show me what you got later, okay? I'll see you guys later. I hope you have a good time, and I'll check back in with you in a minute and show you what I've come up with. I do want to show you quickly how to glue down the pieces though. So I'm gonna just show you that real quick. I forgot about that. So let's aim you back down. All right, so I've got my little container of glue right here, and I'm going to just dip a little bit of glue onto my paintbrush. I'll flip that piece over. And you don't have to cover the whole thing, but you might want to go across the edges a little bit. Remember, protect that table. Put a tablecloth on your table. You don't want to get anything on there. See, just like I did. I'm going to kind of smooth out my glue. You don't want to get too much glue, because then it makes the paper kind of smush up and get all wet looking. So I'm going to smooth that down. I've got my glue all around the edges. Ah! I landed on my pants. It's another reason to wear old clothes while you're doing this. All right, so I'm going to glue this guy down right here and smush it down all around the edges. Now, if there's a little piece that's sticking up, you can just kind of lift it up, put some glue on there, and press it down, because the glue is going to dry clear, okay? So that's how you glue them down. So remember, show me what you come up with. I want to see, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Okay, guys, I'm finished with mine. Are you? I just wanted to show you, this is what I came up with. So this is my collage, and maybe you can see something in it, maybe you can't. I thought this kind of looked like a little person, and maybe they're out in their garden, and maybe it started to rain, or I don't know. Just kind of look and see what you can see in it. That's what the fun part is just trying to figure out exactly what you see. Maybe standing under a tree or something like that. I don't know. Make sure that you upload them to Arty All the Time, the Creativity Club page. And I'd love to see what you guys have come up with. I know that I need your parents or whoever to go on there, and they have to make a comment or something on the Arty All the Time page for me to be able to invite them to be on there. So if they want to upload something that you guys have made just to the Arty All the Time page, then that will work too. Just tag Arty All the Time. And then maybe I'll be able to add them to the group if they're not on the group yet. Let's see, is there anything else? I've got some videos for you to watch that are about Matisse, and so I'm gonna send you those, and I hope that you guys enjoy learning about him. Next week we're gonna learn a little bit more about France and about the country. I've got to go there before. I've been able to go to France. Me and my father went, and it is so beautiful. We got to see lots of really cool artwork, and I actually got to see some of Matisse's actual artwork. So I would love to share that with you. I'm going to look through my pictures and see if I can find any of them to show you. But I hope you guys had a good time making your collages. I can't wait to see them, and I hope you guys have a wonderful Monday. Take care.